Let's shift focus now to another company, Muthoot Microfinance, and let's talk with the management. Let's get in their sense on where the business is headed for the next fiscal. Sadaf Saeed, the CEO, joins in on the show right now. Sadaf, are we seeing any structural issues when it comes to the MFI segment? Because lots has been talked about it. Now some companies have started making additional provisions as well, also seeing stress in asset quality. What's been your reading from what the on-ground situation is like?
Yeah, good morning, Aisha. Thank you for having me here. I think two parts to your question. Being a listed company, I can't be very specific about our numbers, but I'll give you a sense of the entire industry and how the landscape is operating. So firstly, I think on the microfinance industry, I think everybody needs to understand and appreciate that it's a cyclical kind of a trend. If you go back 10 years, the disbursement growth, which has slowed down in the Q1, it's a trend that every year it happens. Like every year, March quarter is the peak performance quarter, and Q1 is a slower kind of a quarter. Having said that, this quarter, of course, there were certain other elements also because there was general elections during the first quarter, and it was a quite a elongated general election. And generally, when there is elections, microfinance activity slows down because there are restrictions on movement, restrictions on gathering people, and other elements are there. So hence, there was a impact on the disbursement and the slowness of the growth of microfinance sector. Combined with that, I think there is a general sentiment that unsecured loans should be slowed down. That has been the call of RBI, not specific to microfinance, but overall. So I think that's the first part of it. But coming back to microfinance and Muthoot Microfinance, I think our performance has been stable. Of course, in the Q1, we had also slowed down on disbursement, but our asset quality has remained robust. In fact, we saw an improvement of 10 bips in terms of our NPA. We were at 2.29% NPA as we ended the year. In the Q1, we were at 2.19% GNPA, and net NPAs are 0.65. So I think from an asset quality point of view, it was quite robust. And I would also guide you towards where the sector is going, because I think usually, if you look at traditionally what has happened, Q1 is a slower quarter in terms of disbursement. Q2 is a certain amount of catch-up happens, but at the same time, because the denominator, which is the overall AUM, goes down in Q1 and Q2, there is a slight bit of elevation in terms of delinquency. But all of that is kind of nullified in Q3 and Q4 because those are the quarters which are more performance-oriented quarters. But coming back to Muthoot, I think we have seen a good pickup in terms of disbursement in Q2. And we have quite a strong collection mechanism and also a strong underwriting mechanism. So we don't see any sort of a stress in terms of asset quality. There could be a minor kind of uptick in the GNPA, but overall profitability will remain intact. That's what we feel.
Wanted to also understand the issues as well that the company was facing in Bihar. What is the current situation? If you can just, update us, because remember the Reserve Bank had said that microfinance companies should go slow in UP and Bihar. Are there any other areas other than Bihar where you are seeing any pressure, and what's the update here?
Yeah, I think good that you asked that question, because I was just yesterday meeting the Deputy Governor, RBI, and Mr. Rajeshwar Rao. And there's a clear kind of, I think it's been misquoted. RBI has never said that there is a stress in Bihar or UP. Of course, Bihar has become kind of a prime market for microfinance. Bihar was somewhere around 7th, 8th ranked market for microfinance in last few years. But in last couple of years, it has become the number one kind of a market. It has around 65,000 crores of outstanding for the industry. But much more because it was a need there, because there is no alternative of credit available there. So hence there has been a lot of kind of lending that has taken place in the last couple of years post-COVID. And collection efficiency, as I said, because of the cyclic reason is down, but still it is one of the better states in terms of collection efficiency. Still 97, 98% people are paying on time on kind of on a daily basis. So there is no such Specific challenge, there are isolated small instances of disturbance in collections that is there, which is a part of the business which continues to happen. But overall, I think Bihar is reasonably fine. UP is actually doing absolutely fine. There is no challenge in UP. Post-election, there were minor issues in few districts, but those are all settled. And the government is quite favorable to microfinance activity in UP. And collection efficiency, again, there also is pretty much around 96-97%.
All right. Now let's talk a little bit more about the extra provisioning, whether you'll be making that this quarter. And if yes, will you be revising your credit cost guidance? It's currently was at about 1.7 to 1.9%?
Yeah, in terms of the provisioning, I think we follow the ECL methodology, the expected credit loss. And as the trend indicates, definitely the provisioning will change as per the requirement of the ECL model. As of now, we don't see any reason for excessive provisioning. Yes, there could be a slight bit of modification. There could be credit cost in the range of 2% to 2.25%. But beyond that, we don't see any more reason to kind of excessively provide or write off anything. Our NPAs are under control. In September, as I said, as a cyclic trend, you would see a uptick in NPA. But overall, by the end of the financial year, the NPAs would be within the guidance that we have given. And also credit costs would be within the guidance that we have given. It would be around 2 to 2.5.
Sadaf, last quarter you sold about 150 crore rupees to asset reconstruction companies, right? And I guess that led to your stable GNPAs as well. Are you looking at similar sales this quarter too? Or maybe, in the remainder of the fiscal?
No, we don't have any strategy of selling any like NPA portfolio to any RC this quarter. We had done that as an exercise last quarter. We had sold 150 crores. I think I would also like to mention that the recovery from those NPAs have been pretty good because we did a ARC deal a few years back, 2 years back, where the valuation of that pool was around 30%. But this time around when we did, the valuation of that pool was around 45%. So that is the kind of uptick in the recovery that has been seen. And we are seeing pretty stable trend in terms of recovery. Even from NPA, we have seen almost around 45 to 50% recovery that happens. So I think at the moment, we don't have any plans to sell anything. I think in Q4, we will take a call, but at the moment, we don't plan.
You've also been working on reducing your cost of funds, right? I mean, you brought it down to 11.25% in Q1 to about 11.07 in Q1 FY25. The new funding is at 10.3%. What is going to be the cost of funds this quarter, and how much more of a reduction can one expect?
Yeah, definitely, I think that is an area where there is a scope of reduction. We are seeing incremental costs coming down. I think the incremental borrowing was already at 10.34%. They have further come down during the quarter. And we anticipate with the rate cuts which have happened in US, soon these will translate into Indian economy as well. And that will eventually lead to our cost of fund reducing. We are already accessing some of the funds that we have borrowed through ECB, which are witnessing a pretty decent reduction in cost of fund because we just recently did a deal where we borrowed at around 9.6% all inclusive, including the hedging cost. And we are planning more such transaction. There is a large deal which is in pipeline, which is around $70 million, which is coming at a very, very reasonable rate. So that will really help us to bring the cost of fund down. And overall, when the cost of fund comes down, we pass on certain benefit to our borrower, and also it helps on our margin. So we are pretty confident that we will be able to maintain our margins of 13%.
Good to chat with you, and we'll chat again once the quarterly numbers are out, perhaps.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, on that